All right, we'll call a council meeting to order. Everybody stand for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, take the roll.
Mayor O'Connor.
Here.
Morissette. Wakefield. Knudsen. Here. Kennedy.
Here.
Ruck.
Here.
Hall. Here.
All right, I gotta get to my...
All right, now we'll try.
Okay, first thing up, comments, suggestions from citizens present. It's your opportunity to make a comment on anything that is not currently on the agenda. If you have a comment, please come to the stand or the podium, identify yourself, and you give your address. Keep your comments brief. Try not to repeat other people's comments. Welcome.
Hey guys, that doesn't work, does it? All right, Nicholas Kramer, 50 Meadowlark. Good evening, Mayor and Council. At a recent meeting, a few of our council members requested the police chief give a brief rundown during the Public Safety Committee on how the department is utilizing the Flock AI surveillance network. During that committee meeting, the chief elected to keep his statements private and sent an email directly to committee members as opposed to holding open discussions. My initial intent before this meeting was to issue a verbal public records request citing 19.36 subchapter 2, the whole deal. But I don't think that really matters. Regardless of the contents of that email, you cannot change the undeniable facts of the situation, the case law, the Supreme Court rulings, the current litigation, the breach of public trust, and the privacy concerns. I reached out to the chief directly and can empathize with his position, even if we may fundamentally disagree. After the Public Safety Committee, I reached out to its members, encouraging them to advocate opening the Flock Transparency Portal, particularly the public search audit. It's as simple as an on and off switch. While these AI surveillance cameras are active and on our streets, the public must have, and is frankly entitled to, the highest degree of absolute public transparency. This is not a trade secret or classified police technology. It is public record. Many departments in the state, even a few within a few miles of here, publish detailed usage information online via the Flock Transparency Portal for public dissemination. If what I and some of the top lawyers in the country are claiming is true, we'd be looking at the largest, most widespread systematic Fourth Amendment violation in the history of the country, and the city of Hudson would be complicit. I would say, and I believe many of you would agree, that it is critical the public has complete visibility on this. I believe I've articulated enough information to this council, and in particular the Public Safety Committee, to warrant adding the use of Flock AI to the agenda. That is my call of action to you. As aforementioned, Austin, Texas took these cameras off their streets. Evanston, Illinois, Denver, Colorado, Sedona, Arizona, Oak Park, that list continues to grow. Any reasonable person can see what this system does is unconstitutional, wrong, and deeply concerning. Countless cities are coming to that same conclusion. It's cut and dry and clear as day. This council must act and put an end to government-sponsored mass surveillance in Hudson. I would like to close again by affirming that this is not an anti-police or partisan political attack. My arguments and efforts are made purely out of constitutional conviction and to uphold and defend the rights that thousands of Americans have died to protect. This is not a question of being pro or anti-law enforcement. The founding fathers drew the line. The question before us here today is if we are okay with crossing it. John Adams said, "You will never know how much it has cost my generation to preserve your freedom. I hope you will make good use of it." After that meeting, I did reach out to the chief. I asked him to share that email with me, and I understand his position of wanting to keep that tight to the belt. I understand that there could be a perspective that would see some of that information as proprietary or something you want to keep, secret. But the fact of the matter is the audit details, everything that has to do with Flock is public record, right? So you can access that via an open records request. And my intent going into this was to do that here. do a verbal public records request and ask for that email. But like I said, I don't think combative politics is conducive to getting the solution we're looking for. Everybody should be on the same team here. That's the police department, the council, and the public, right? And to do that, the public has to be informed. And if we're keeping things tight and not sharing with the public, that's not conducive to a good solution, right? It's a widespread issue. Like I said, there's cities across the country that have recognized the constitutional issues with this, and they're taking them down. And I've mentioned many, many times before that I anticipate in a year or two, these cases take a long time to process. We're going to have to take them down. The case law is super clear. I went through it in depth at the Public Safety Committee, case by case, kind of the key decisions the Supreme Court has made on this. And like I said, the judge in the Norfolk system noted the striking similarities between the cases that have already been decided and the case that the IJ is bringing before the district court up there, geared towards the Supreme Court, of course. We need some action on this, right? I don't know if this is my 5th or 6th meeting coming to talk. We need some traction here, right? Step one is let's bring it to the public. Let's open the transparency portal with the public search audit. At least we have visibility on that. Most departments have that, where the public can go online and see how it's being used, how many searches have been used, how many license plates have been scanned, how many images have been taken, how many instances it's been shared with other agencies, who we're sharing that information with. Like I said, the federal government, ICE, and some private companies have been caught getting access to this data, right? We need to work towards a solution, and I'm not seeing a ton yet, and I know government works slow, and there's a lot of information to go through, a lot of different perspectives. But yeah, that's my call to action to you guys, is let's put it on the agenda, let's put it before the public. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments? Any other comments? Any other comments? Any other comments? Hearing none, close that portion of the agenda. Consent agenda.
Approve the meeting minutes from October 6, 2025, regular council meeting. Approve the claims in the amount of $2,687,324.07. Approve the lease agreement at 18 Buckeye Street for Outlot 214 with St. Croix Sailing School. Approve the memorial application for from Michelle Jacobson. Approve the proposal from Save a Tree in the amount of $7,500 to install lights on the 2nd Street decorative lights. Approve the quote from Display Sales in the amount of $8,505.
Please hold it.
Approve St. Patrick's School Parent Group event. Approve the purchase battery power extrication tools as part of the 2025 CIP for $54,195.39. Approve reappointment of Andrew Haas to the Public Utility Commission for a 3-year term from 2025 to 2028. And appointment to the Board of Review.
Move to approve with the exception of F.
Second.
Motion and second to approve consent agenda with the exception of item F. Roll call.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Kennedy,
Yes.
Ruck,
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Motion's approved. Consent agenda is approved. Item F.
All right, so the reason that this was pulled is because during the Finance Committee, I had presented a alternate option for the lights that go across 2nd Street from a company that submitted a quote late on Friday, wasn't able to make it into the packet. And so, hold on one second.
Thank you.
So the alternate quote from Main Street Designs, which is the same company that we had purchased our Rudolph reindeer from before, is $1,500 cheaper and is a reputable company. So staff is recommending approving the quotes for $7,162.
Move to approve the purchase from Main Street Designs for $7,162.
Second.
Got a motion and second to approve. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Thanks, Mike. Amend the City of Hudson Personnel Policies Handbook, create non-DOT testing policy, and approve the supporting forms and procedures.
Okay.
we've been through the book once before. There's just a few minor changes that we needed to make, including the change from the January 1st, or changing everybody from the halfway through the year, or whenever their anniversary dates were during the year, having all of those people come to a January 1st employment date. That way we can do their budget, or we would have been able to do their employee wages and everything at the same time of the year as their vacations. But if we go through item 1, or on that list, we have several pieces here. The first is try to just change that around. There we go. I'm trying to see if anybody did that. Okay, sorry about that. The first was overtime pay. We needed to make an adjustment there. This is different than what was previously approved. Apparently, when we call in for snow removals, we need to be able to pay those individuals an overtime pay when they come in overnight. Okay, it was in a previous version of the handbook personnel policy. It was not in the latest one that we approved a couple months ago. We need to revert back to that, because I think it would be difficult to bring employees in during snow removal, especially if they especially if they're on vacation or something else. This allows them to get paid overtime outside their regular hours. The next was, again, the wages. Realizing in our budget we are not able to convert everybody over to January 1st date, which would have been easier on staff to manage, but we're still going to have them scattered raises throughout the year. So that was the language to convert that. That was on page 17 and 18 of the manual. Vacation, there was a Scrivener's error. For some reason, we jumped from year 3 to year 5. Simple counting. So we needed to change that on there. And the leave of absence, right now we have 15 days. It was advised by our attorney to go to a 30-day leave of absence where the administrator can approve 30 days. This allows time for FMLA process to take place before we bring it to council for beyond 30 days leave of absence. Okay, it allows us to collect the information to be compatible with FMLA process. Then the other is a non-discrimination clause that was added on page 68. So those were the changes to the personnel policy. To get that up to date. There's always, you find little things as you go along. So took the opportunity, if we had to do the one for the January 1st change, we'd look at those other pieces. All right, the next thing is the non-DOT drug testing policy. Whoop. That one wants to do it again. I don't know who's, it just is changing over on its own. And you guys are here, so no one's in the closet, right?
Oh, Nate.
Weird.
Ghost.
It just turns on. Okay, I apologize for that. City of Hudson drug and alcohol testing policy for non-DOT employees. Last October, we approved one for all that we have to follow all the DOT requirements, right, for testing and random testing for those that drive the heavy machinery. This is a drug and alcohol testing policy for all the non-DOT employees. It allows us to, where is it? It allows us to go through with anybody that might be found to be intoxicated while on the job. We can have, and a supervisor can fill out the form that is also within the packet. That would be a reasonable suspicion determination, and we can have them tested for either drugs or alcohol. If there's an accident on the job while they're operating city equipment, right, and we have suspicion, we can also have them tested for one of the controlled substances. We also have, as part of this, upon employment, we can have them tested for everything upon employment. We do that with police officers and we do that with employees today. We didn't have it really written out that we would do so. Obviously, after they're hired, our attorney advised there are some restrictions or limited pieces with the way THC is looked at and regulated with all the different forms, that we have to be a little bit cautious, but we can still test for those substances if there's a reasonable suspicion to test for some of those substances. If they're clearly high or intoxicated. So that is the change on those pieces, along with the final piece is a employee position needs form. So anybody that needs to replace an employee or employee leaves for any reason, department heads would fill out the needs form and evaluate whether or not the position is still needed, and then we go on. Anybody that, if we're creating a new position, that always comes to council. So those are the pieces and forms that we have. I'd like approval of the personnel policy the way it is written before you, and then approve the non-DOT drug and alcohol testing policy and the appropriate forms that we'd be using. Anybody got questions?
Anybody? You have a motion?
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved.
One thing I do want to say, in addition to what we just went through, staff is very appreciative of the council and the vacation. I got actually a nice little letter on my desk from an employee that was very appreciative of the change and some of the policies that we made at the last meeting. So I think it's doing good for some of the morale at City Hall as well. So it's always good. Good to hear and see notes like that.
Yep. Good.
I haven't gotten one from Sam yet, but. All right.
We can wait.
Well, yeah, we can wait for it.
Does Sam get time off?
No, we don't give Sam time off. He's not allowed out of his office.
All right, discussion possible action regarding updating ordinance 235 to include the prohibition of recreational ATV, UTV, and off-highway motorcycles. Chief.
Good evening, council. I'm sure you've all seen or had residents and constituents concerned about the new off-highway motorcycles that we've seen buzzing around town, usually being operated by those 12 or 14 years of age with no driver's license. So obviously we thought that was time to get something in the ordinances about that. While reviewing the ordinances, there wasn't a lot in there about the other ATV type vehicles either. The only thing really specifically mentioned in the ordinances are mini bikes from back in the 80s. So we needed to do some updating. One of the big drivers for this to put in an ordinance, because they are enforceable by state law, I don't want my guys writing traffic tickets to 12-year-olds, right? Making them have the inability to get a driver's license until they're 18 or 21. I don't think it was nefarious. Having parents buy these things, there was no indication that they may have been illegal, especially if you didn't do any research before buying these things for your kids. And it's a good way for them to get around town, so they thought. I don't dispute that. I just don't want them driving them on our streets or bike paths or parking lots or sidewalks downtown. And obviously, I don't want them driving them on the road if they don't have a driver's license. So the thought was to create an ordinance prohibiting these on public property, and that's what we have in front of you.
Anybody?
And I know we were talking at Public Safety about some additional education or information given to schools to talk with students about, and maybe something in the newspaper, something just to update so that people are aware, because like you said, no one set out to try to break a law for this, but we're unaware of.
Yes, so our school resource officers are working on an educational campaign within the schools right now. It's not a huge issue right now with the weather turning, kids being in school most of the day, it being dark pretty much when they get home from school, and these vehicles generally don't have lights on them anyway. So the plan was, as the spring rolls in and around the spring break time, to really start a public education campaign about these so that people are well apprised by the time the warmer weather rolls around with these rules.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so there's no ticket, but it looks like there's some fines that are associated?
Could be, yes, there could be. It would be an ordinance, it'd be an ordinance violation citation, so it wouldn't go
Okay.
on any permanent record. There could still be a fine associated with it, yes.
Okay, so let's say you see someone who is violating the ordinance, it will be an educational opportunity? What does that look like?
It'll probably be an educational opportunity. Give them a warning, call mom and dad, have them come pick them and the bike up. If we see them again, then it would be a citation, it would go on like that.
Okay, a citation, so if it happened
A
again?
municipal ordinance citation.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, I have a question. And this is a broader topic, and perhaps our Bike and Pedestrian Committee will take it up as well. But as we develop more shared use or multimodal, whatever the term is these days, of the paths that we're trying to create and have more access in our community, have you had issues with people that are on a true e-bike? I mean, those can go pretty fast also.
Yes, we haven't had many issues with those. Those motor assists will turn off at 20 or 25 miles an hour.
So
you
that's
don't-
the phrase, is motor assist?
Yes,
Because
the
people
e-bikes
say
are.
e-bike for
The e-bikes
why?
have pedals that propel the vehicle forward, and then you have the electric motor assist that can help them climb hills or whatever they're trying to do. At a speed of 20 to 25 miles an hour, that motor shuts off, so it's all human powered at that
I
point.
see. So far, again, you haven't had any incidences on the trails?
No,
or-
with the true e-bikes, we've not had any
Okay, 'cause
issues.
I have seen some pretty rapid transit down the Dike Road, with young people, during
Those are the
summer.
vehicles I believe we are talking about with this.
You think those are?
Yes.
The OHM? Okay.
Yes.
It's a matter, I think you said, like, of pedals or pegs.
Yeah.
Well, and
I
you have
thought
to be
the
careful a
ones-
little bit because you can buy the aftermarket pedals in place of the pegs. The pedals just don't do anything. So it looks like it's a pedal bike,
Okay.
but if they pedaled, nothing would happen. It's the electric motor that drives it.
Chief, just for the sake of argument, what if you put governors on these bikes and you couldn't do more than 15 miles an hour?
If you put governors on the bikes,
Yeah. So they couldn't do more than, they can't go any faster than the e-bikes.
yeah, I guess it's still not. It's still essentially a motor vehicle that these kids would be driving
Okay,
because it's powered 100% by electric motor.
got it, yeah.
I witnessed something this summer I was shocked at. I was right by Dairy Queen and that intersection coming from Lakefront Park, so I was heading east, going to go up Cooley Road, and I saw a young person who I would guess was maybe 13 or 14, and he had no helmet on. He was on one of these vehicles. He was in the turn lane, so he was going to turn up Cooley, and he had his, 7 or 8-year-old sister, I'm guessing, behind him, hanging on, clutching. I'm sure mom and dad did not know that was going on, and, they were going to proceed like a car, like a vehicle through that intersection and up Cooley, and that made me very nervous to see that.
Yeah, we've had contacts with some of these kids completely going across all the lanes of traffic on Carmichael Road, Crestview Drive, all over town. It's been how nobody has gotten seriously injured on these things.
Very
this summer
scary,
is-
right.
And it's not unique to us. It was in an article on this in the Star Trib, and that happened in Hastings, where a woman was hit by that and is still having issues from it. So I think it's good that we're doing something about this. I know I've seen a lot and heard from residents, and I think this is a good starting point, and let's hope this gets it under control.
Okay, so is that a motion?
We have to suspend
Do
the
we have to
rules.
Move to suspend rules.
Motion to
Suspend the rules.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to suspend the rules, roll call?
Wakefield,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes,
Kennedy,
Yes.
Brock,
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
The motion's approved, rules are suspended.
Move to update ordinance 235.
Second?
Motion and a second to approve or update. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Chief. Discussion and possible action to approve Resolution 19-25 for the 2026-2030 TAP grant application.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Mike Moraz, Director of Public Works. So I'm in front of you tonight to approve Resolution 19-25 for a TAP grant application. So engineering staff was notified of this opportunity for TAP grant, And so looking at some of the items that we've looked at in the past at both Public Safety and Public Works Committee and kind of what fit in this particular grant application, they came up and recommending pursuing a planning grant for Stage Line Road, which is east of the hospital heading out towards the cinema. I know there's been talks of some development out there, and we have the Red Cedar Canyon, Heritage Greens, Coachlight subdivisions, and it's been an area of residents calling in with some concerns getting into town, so on and so forth. So here's an opportunity to secure some funds to help with the planning portion. This would not be for construction, so just planning only, where they would look at alternatives, look at some of the environmental slopes, maybe do a little preliminary design. But staff is looking for approval of this resolution as it is required as part of the TAP grant application.
Move to approve Resolution 19-25.
Second?
Got a motion and second to approve. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Thanks, Mike. Hudson Shared Ride Transit update.
Good evening, council. In front of you, you have two sheets. I tried to blow up as much as I could. But the smaller one is just a comparative analysis of the ridership year-to-date comparative to last year. You'll see that we've effectively doubled, and you also, it's a breakdown between, you know, adult, senior, disabled students. You'll see that the vast majority of ridership is in that senior and disabled category, which would follow that trend line from the report I gave last April. So you're looking at roughly 80% of the ridership being those seniors and disabled. The second sheet, the larger, the 11 by 17, is an analysis of the fares for other communities in Wisconsin, what they charge. As you'll see, we're kind of mid-range comparatively. The other thing to note, I think, is if you look at our neighboring communities, we're a little bit higher, especially New Richmond and River Falls. Those will be the nearest communities to us in this analysis. I did reach out to our service provider Runnings. They made a recommendation to maybe look at our agency fare. So agency fare is what is Medicaid covered. So nothing that, you know, that comes out of the resident's pocket, but rather through the feds or the state. Ours is at 6, which is on the low end comparative to other communities. We could look at going to 8, which would kind of put us in the middle. It would probably offer another maybe $10,000 to $20,000 in additional funding annually. Does not require a public hearing, or it requires a vote of the council, but does not require a public hearing. If we change the actual rates, that requires a public hearing and then ultimately a vote of the council. So I wanted to share that. I know there were other questions on unique ridership. I did get the first 7 days of October. There are a lot of, and Runnings confirmed this, is that there are a lot of, you know, frequent riders, individuals that utilize the service frequently. The most common destinations are what you would probably expect. So your Walmarts, your Targets, your physicians, dialysis appointments, things like that. This service does not go into Minnesota or from Minnesota. It cannot do that with the federal funding. There are, you know, fast food too. People use it for conveniences, you know, going to McDonald's or Arby's, and Jeff and I were kind of just going through it a little bit ago, or Chief and I. But for the most part, it is, you know, the Y, the doctor, you know, and Target, things like that, or senior living facilities. So with that, I can answer any questions.
So Mike, you talked about the, what did you say, the charge from $6 to $8 covered by Medicaid? What charge was that?
It's called the agency fee.
Agency fee?
Yep.
How does that work? Is that a reimbursement?
Yep, it's
To
paid.
us through Medicaid, Medicare?
It doesn't come directly from them. I mean, it's paid for by the rider, but it's,
Oh, it's a reimbursement to the rider?
right, yep,
Okay.
yep.
And do you have unique rider numbers?
I couldn't get all of the unique riders numbers, no, but what she did tell me was that there is a lot of frequent ridership of, once people are comfortable with it, they utilize it more often.
Sure. Any idea, like a breakdown of the number of rides to especially fast food? I know we're starting to get into a little bit more detailed stuff, but
I can do
as
that.
opposed to just a restaurant. I mean, I'm just curious, a ride, what it's costing us to go to a McDonald's or an Arby's versus having them use DoorDash, which would be about the same amount of money, I think, for the user.
Right. So out of, call it 327 rides, I'm seeing
Yeah, I thought, looking at the data, myself,
3, 6, 7, 8.
it was a little tough because some of them just have the name of the place and some of them have the address of the fast
Yeah.
food place. So you
Yep.
can judge by the names, but not necessarily by the addresses.
Yep.
You almost have to enter a
Festival,
little bit more difficult,
McDonald's.
but it can be done.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I
maybe.
was just curious. I mean, if you don't have to give us that right now.
Hey,
but
I would say
just
maybe-
trying to save some money here. If we whittle the cost of this down and still provide a service, is what I would like to do.
I would say maybe at best 10%.
10%, okay.
And
And by the way, are these, so if I get a ride to the doctor, are the fares you're charging here, we're seeing here, is this round trip or is this one way?
Each trip is one way.
One
So a
way.
trip is one trip, two, yep, and then one trip back.
And does this end at like 7 at night or something?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
could I ask how many trips go outside the city limits of Hudson? Because I know we were required to have a certain perimeter.
Very few. Like on all these that I'm looking at, the trip might originate in the town, but very, very few go anywhere else other than into town.
Okay. Their destination is in Hudson
Correct.
typically?
Yep.
Okay. Is it correct that, I know we're going to talk about this with the budget, our cost is going up significantly this year, is that right?
Yeah, I think it was 120 last year, if I'm right, and we'll turn
Yep.
to 180,
Yep.
That's
180,000.
what we
yes.
would be projected to need to contribute next year.
Yes, we're projecting next year to contribute another 60,000, so 180,000 in total. Sam, is that about right? Sam's
Yeah,
coming
one thing
up.
to remember on that is, it was previously paid for by ARPA, so all of that, the total amount is going to hit the general fund
Right.
this year.
So, yeah, so just to be clear, it was ARPA funds that paid the 120.
For the first year.
For the
remainder
first
of the
2
ARPA.
years,
So
right?
this is the total 180 is going to our budget this year.
Yes.
So looking at someone like, a city like River Falls, how are they, are they gonna have a $180,000 investment in this as well? Or do they have less? I'm just wondering are there other grants other communities are using, or is it also coming out of?
It'd be the same. Yep. Like I said, we can nibble at, $20K off that, which is not insignificant on the agency fee. That takes our hit down a little bit. But, that would be, staff's recommendation would be to increase that agency fee to help out a little bit too and be in
Sure.
the middle of the road with everybody else.
And again, what does it take to find out the exact number of unique users?
It'll have to be a sort.
Okay, but it's doable.
I think, yes.
I'd like to know that so that we could
It's doable.
explore perhaps other options to accomplish the same thing. Also, in the category disabled rides here, do we know, and I'd asked you this earlier, do you know when we say that, Are these people that needed the equipment for their disability that these new vans are equipped with as opposed to the previous service?
Not necessarily. You can be disabled and not need the actual wheelchair lift.
Yeah, and so I'd like to know that, if that's at all possible. I'd like to know what utilization that equipment is actually getting in those vans, because we paid for that.
Right.
Question?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand, and I'm hoping you can help me understand, why it's important to know how many unique individuals it is. I mean, if they are a senior or if they are a disabled person, why is that relevant?
Well, I think, like I said, I think there are other options that we could explore, perhaps.
Such as?
Pardon me?
Such as?
Subsidies to each of the individuals. I mean, if we have, I know that the first iteration that we had, the first system that we had, do you remember the numbers on that, Mike?
The My Car on Call, no.
It was, the number of unique users was very low, given the total number of rides that were used. So if we knew that there were, I mean, I would be more than willing to subsidize 20 people, 30 people that are accounting for the vast majority of all of these rides, right? Does that make sense?
I'm just.
And that way we wouldn't have to be paying for equipment. The cost of, I mean, we're subsidizing the cost of this equipment for the people that are operating this system, the runnings. Okay? If we were to subsidize people, they could use that for a taxi ride somewhere. It depends upon, again, if they're using the equipment for disabilities. And because we found that we'd heard from a number of people that the first company that we had, they did not have that equipment, and therefore they were excluded from using that system. And it would be nice to know how many people we're talking about, in my opinion.
Okay. I mean, sure. I just think that 20 to 30 is probably not realistic, if that were the case, when you see that we have, 2,100 seniors and we have 1,054 disabled, and that would essentially mean that they would be doing multiple rides a day. And so I did call the ARDC to get their feedback on what they have been hearing from the community members, and it has been well received. This is what the intent of the program was, to keep people engaged and active in our community, reduce the burden on our caregivers. This population, seniors and disabled, is by the year 2028, is projected to be in the high 30%. And this is less than 0.5% of the proposed budget. And to me, this is absolutely a moral issue to take care of our citizens. So I'm happy to get more information so we can make a really informed decision.
Yeah. Well, me too. And I mean, you know this, Sarah. I mean, I've been advocating for this for 7-8 years. I was happy to see it, and I advocated for this particular, maybe not runnings, but for the second iteration that would have especially the equipment that could accommodate our disabled folks here in town. So, but we also knew that if we were going to be reliant on grant money and other things, that it was going to be costly.
And
at some point, it was going to be very
Mm-hmm.
costly.
And we have had 2 years completely, or with minimal to no expense.
Yeah. So.
I couldn't hear your face.
We have had 2 years has there been any expense accrued, or if it has been minimal? Is that correct?
Well, the ARPA funds.
Been nothing. Well,
Right.
nothing.
But in the first year, yeah, that came out of our budget. Did it not? That was about 100,000, I think.
Yeah, for My Car on Call.
Yeah.
So,
And when you talk about the number of rides here, keep in mind, like if given that each ride is just one way, one person, 2 rides, just going to the doctor. So you can pretty much divide that by half.
How much have we spent on equipment for the people with disabilities?
That's, well, we're just paying for the
We're just
system.
paying for the service, right?
Oh, okay.
They provide it, right?
But that was equipping the vans. What else?
Is ridership in surrounding communities, I know you said what the cost is it similar numbers that we're experiencing?
River Falls is higher. New Richmond, we're kind of in line, but again, it's, our numbers have been trending this way.
Sure.
I don't know that we've achieved what our maximum ridership is yet. And from what I've heard from whether it be ADRC or seniors is that, once they talk about it and once they ride it and they get comfortable, it's a comfort thing.
Sure.
Especially with seniors, but like, okay, this is okay. They tend to be repeat riders.
Which, of course, feels like a success that they're comfortable in using it, but by my just very rough calculations, next year, every ride is going to cost the city $10. So that may seem like nothing, but if 16,000 rides take $180,000, there's a lot of places we could use that $180,000. That's my concern, the cost. It's beneficial, but to a small group of people. And we have some significant projects that do benefit everyone in the city. So thanks for the details. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And if you could try to drill down on some of those other things too, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I tried after we talked. I tried to get a hold of them, but.
Okay. All right, anything else? Anybody? Okay, department heads. Thanks, Mike.
Can I go first?
No. Of course you can.
There's a lot going on. Obviously, we've got an application in for Texas Roadhouse up on Gateway Circle, or up Badger Drive, sorry. We've got that going. There's an expansion in the business park. There is Discount Tire over by Festival came in last week or 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago. We've got obviously the school district annexation proposal. That'll be nice and fun to work through over the coming months. There's ongoing conversations down in St. Croix Meadows with a number of different projects. There is, there's just a lot of development activity. It seems it's just interesting. Doran Group is working on finalizing, closing on their property behind that's already approved behind Holiday Inn Express. It's for the senior living facility, so that'll be a big project coming in. Obviously, downtown, we're going to have a lot of process in front of us for the Bernadette proposal on 2nd Street here downtown. There are a number of other development projects kind of floating around there, I guess I would say. Nothing's real until there's an application, so yeah, it's active, which is good. The value is important, and yeah, it's good to see that people are happy and willing to invest in the city, so that's all I got.
Anybody?
What location is Texas Roadhouse looking at, right across like from the parking lot from Panera or?
Yes,
Okay.
yep, right by that retention pond.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Jeff?
All right, so you have the calls for service from September attached. If there's any questions, I'd entertain those. Otherwise, the only real updates we have are going through the process to fill the 3 vacant positions that we have. application period ended a couple weeks ago. Today was the first day of PT testing and interviews. We'll do the same thing tomorrow. So Police and Fire Commission is slated to do their interviews next week, Wednesday. After that, we should get a list of candidates that we will start a backgrounding process. We hope to start filling those slots by the end of December. So.
Cool. Anybody?
All right.
Steve? Public Library.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to point out an error on the sheet that I gave you. It's total circulation amounts for August and September, and the labels are August and May. May is supposed to say September, so just note that. This week is Wisconsin Science Festival Week, and so we have science events every day at the library this week. So if you know people who are interested, please share that. Sunday hours started yesterday, so we are now open Sundays 11 to 3 through the end of May. And also just want to let families know that October 25th from 10:30 to 12:30 is our trick or treat trail, which has been really popular with families. And this year we're having it indoors. I don't know if staff just thought we've run our luck on outdoor events. So we're going to try it indoors. We have done it indoors before, and it works well either way. So just please share that information with your friends and family, and I can take any questions if you have any.
Anybody?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shelley. And Drew?
All right, good evening, council. Attached was the monthly report for September. I think the only thing of note was we performed a very large mass casualty drill at the state park. Simulated a windstorm event out there with 25 patients. We had 6 area fire departments, several ambulance services, and about 100 participants in for that drill. It went very well. We exercised our mass casualty plan, so that was a lot of planning went into that, but it was a good outcome. It was a good training drill. Just one other thing, I'm sure many of you saw, and we will be doing something formally with the city. Our assistant chief, Jeff DeBruzzi, many of you know him as Skinny, was nominated. We nominated him for First Responder of the Year through the Assembly 30th District. He was a recipient of that award this year. They do that every session, so this is the 23 through 25 session that he was recognized for his 46 years of service to the fire department. So last Tuesday, we went down to the state capitol and they did a recognition of all the First Responders of the Year recipients. This year there was 94 recipients statewide. So it was a very, very neat ceremony to be a part of. It was very cool. Shannon Zimmerman did a fantastic job of getting us where we need to go and everything. He'll be reaching out to the mayor to do something formally. He wanted to be here to help recognize Skinny at the council meeting. But it was pretty cool that he was the recipient of that award for the district. So,
Excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Anybody? Thanks, Drew.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Sam Hasu, Finance Director. What Finance Department has been up to over the last month is continued work on the 2026 proposed budget, which will come to a head, I guess, on November 3rd here at the council meeting. Also working with the clerk and her staff to answer resident questions on assessments and the proposed budget impact on those with those assessments on their tax bills. Finance staff has been working to reconcile some balance sheet accounts that have been out there for quite a while. The 290 police fund, the fire their savings fund from when they sell fixed assets, reconciling that fund and that account rather, excuse me. And then to work with engineering staff on the 2025 special assessments and community development staff on 2025 pay-go payments to developers as part of TID agreements. With that, I stand for any questions.
Anybody? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Okay, pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85 sub 1 sub E, to deliberate or negotiate the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business, potential cooperative boundary agreement with the town of Troy.
Move to go to closed session.
Second?
Have a motion and a second to go into closed session. Roll call.
Wakefield?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Ruck?
Yes.
All.
Yes.
Motion's approved. We are now in closed session. See you across the hall. We have a motion.
I move to approve the joint resolution between the city of Hudson and the town of Troy.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. I don't have anything, I don't think. Anybody?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
If you would, I would like to make a request for item for future agenda. As I'm sure we've all been following closely the Plan Commission activity and the discussion about the Bernadette Building under the development, the Gagnon property, and a lot of discussion about parking in downtown. And I think as a council, I mean, the Plan Commission is handling that project as it moves forward, but I think I would like to see the council discuss the parking description in our code for the B3 district. The requirement, and that is kind of twofold, how much is required and the concept of paying a fee in lieu of providing parking stalls. And I think that should be revisited. The idea when our code was developed that we would ever have a residential building that had over 100 units in it was probably never on anyone's agenda. No one ever thought that we would have that kind of density. And to me, it's apples and oranges comparing residential parking and the needs for it to commercial, where someone comes and goes to a shop or a restaurant, etc. So I would like to revisit that, but I would also feel that we should discuss the dollar amount that we collect from people who do not provide parking, because it's only $8,000 per stall. And supposedly, our code specifies that that money goes towards a fund that then we could provide parking, make a new parking lot. Well, the cost of real estate in Hudson is so high that that's not really realistic or feasible, that we're going to buy a lot and put in a new. So I just think the whole thing needs to be addressed. And I do feel, again, that it is primarily a business district, and that provision for providing parking, it's a shared parking there. That concept really never, I don't think it ever really was intended to encompass that big of a residential building. So I am planning to provide a specific recommendation to the staff and to the mayor, so I hope it's on our agenda soon. I just wanted to mention it so that people could be thinking about it and studying that. So thank you. I hope that we can address it soon as a council.
Just
Good.
Thank you.
to build on that, there was a parking study that was done not too long ago, and so perhaps at that same time, that'd be helpful that we make sure that we all get copies of that.
Sure.
That did study this, I think was a joint effort by the city and the Chamber of Commerce, so
Right.
that would be helpful to
Good call. Yeah.
Good idea. Yes, and I want to make it clear that I am not trying to, this current project that I mentioned already has a certain amount of approvals and is moving forward. But as many of our residents have come forward and said they're concerned there'll be more of these buildings, it's very attractive, and how are we going to address it? We do need to have our eyes open about how do we handle
Absolutely.
residential parking. So I would like to see us tackle that, so thank you.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else?
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Motion is second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.